Some objects were never meant to be touched, some things carry whispers of the dead, shadows of the damned, and secrets that defy time itself. These are the cursed objects, ordinary things with extraordinary darkness. They look ordinary, a mirror, a doll, a ring, or even a painting. But behind their silence lies centuries of death, despair, and curses no one dares to break. These are not just stories. These are real objects, locked away in museums, sealed in glass cases, or hidden in basements, because touching them could mean your life, or your soul. For centuries, cursed artifacts have claimed lives, spread misfortune, and trapped souls within them. Some are locked away in museums. Some are buried. And some are still out there, waiting to be touched. These are the real-life cursed objects you should never touch. She looks like a child's toy. But Annabelle is no plaything. From moving on her own, to leaving chilling messages, to causing death itself, she has been called the most dangerous doll in the world. This is the true story of Annabelle, the cursed doll. In 1970, a mother bought an old Raggedy Ann doll for her daughter, Donna, who was about to graduate from college. Donna lived in a small apartment with her roommate, Angie, who was also a nurse. They noticed the doll moving on its own. At first, small things, its arms shifted, its legs crossed. Then, notes began to appear, scrawled on parchment they didn't own, saying "Help me." One night, they found the doll standing upright, with red stains on its hands. Terrified, they called paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren, who claimed Annabelle was not haunted by a child's spirit as the roommates believed, but by something far darker. A demon. The Warrens sealed Annabelle in a glass case, where she remains today in the Occult Museum, with a warning carved into the glass, positively do not open. Yet even locked away, visitors and skeptics claim Annabelle's curse still lingers. Some left mocking, only to die in accidents on their way home. Annabelle doesn't need to move anymore, she just waits. Maybe she's already watching you. It was meant to hold flowers for a wedding, but instead, it held a curse. For centuries, anyone who owned it met the same fate, death. This is the cursed story of the Basano Vase. The Basano Vase is a simple silver vase said to have been crafted in the 15th century, near Naples, Italy. According to legend, the vase was given to a young bride on the night of her wedding. But before she could walk down the aisle, she was brutally murdered, clutching the vase in her hands. With her dying breath, she swore revenge on anyone who possessed it. Over centuries, the vase passed from family to family, and with each new owner came sudden, unexplained death. One man died of mysterious illness. Another was killed in an accident. Some simply dropped dead without warning. In desperation, the vase was finally hidden away, sealed in a box and buried with a warning note, "Beware, this vase brings death." But decades later, it resurfaced. In the 1980s, a young man unearthed it and sold it at auction. The new owner died within months. Eventually, horrified heirs donated the vase to authorities, who locked it away in an undisclosed location, never to be seen again. To this day, the Basano Vase remains hidden, but its curse is said to live on, waiting for the next unlucky hand to touch it. They say the vase is hidden now, locked away where no one can find it. But curses don't fade, they wait. And if the Basano Vase ever surfaces again, Will you dare to touch it? It looks like an ordinary wine cabinet, but inside, something waits. A restless spirit. A parasite of the soul. Those who owned it were cursed with illness, nightmares, and death. This is the story of the Dybbuk Box. The Dybbuk Box looks like an old wine cabinet. But according to Jewish folklore, it holds something far darker, a Dybbuk, a restless and malicious spirit that clings to the living. The box first surfaced at an estate sale in 2001, purchased by a man named Kevin Mannis. Almost immediately, he experienced nightmares of a demonic figure and the overwhelming scent of ammonia in his home. He gave it to family and friends, but every new owner suffered strange illnesses, terrifying dreams, and constant dread. Inside the box were strange items: a lock of hair, dried flowers, and a goblet, items often used in sealing rituals. Some believe these were attempts to trap the Dybbuk inside. Eventually, the box was sold online, and its reputation spread worldwide, inspiring movies and documentaries. Today, it rests in Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum in Las Vegas, where even hardened paranormal investigators refuse to touch it. They say opening the Dybbuk Box doesn't just release a curse, it invites the spirit to follow you home. They say the Dybbuk feeds on attention. Every time its story is told, every time its name is spoken, it stirs. Some believe that even hearing about it is enough to invite it closer. So if you feel a presence tonight, scratching at your walls, don't open the door. Because you already opened the box. A mirror is meant to show your reflection. But in this Louisiana plantation, one mirror reveals more. Faces that don't belong. Handprints that shouldn't be there. Souls, trapped for eternity. This is the cursed mirror of the Myrtles Plantation. In St. Francisville, Louisiana, sits the Myrtles Plantation, often called one of the most haunted houses in America. Among its many ghost stories, one object stands out: the antique mirror in the main hall. According to legend, in the 1800s, a woman named Sarah Woodruff and her 2 children were poisoned and died inside the house. Tradition in those days said all mirrors should be covered after a death, so the souls of the dead wouldn't become trapped inside. But one mirror in the Myrtles was left uncovered. Visitors claim Sarah and her children's spirits were sealed inside that glass. To this day, people report seeing their faces staring back, pale, hollow-eyed, or small childlike handprints that appear on the surface no matter how many times it is cleaned. Some say, the mirror doesn't just reflect the living, it reflects the dead still trapped inside. They say if you look long enough, you'll see them too. But beware, when you stare into this mirror, they might not just look back. It looks like an ordinary wooden chair. But centuries ago, a dying murderer cursed it with his final breath. Since then, soldiers, workers, and strangers who sat in it all met the same fate: death. This is the cursed story of the chair of death. In the 1700s, a man named Thomas Busby was convicted of murder in Thirsk, England. Just before his execution, he cursed the chair he used to sit in at his favorite inn, declaring that anyone who sat in it would die. Locals laughed it off, until strange things began to happen. During World War II, airmen from a nearby base would sit in the chair for a thrill and never return from their missions. Builders, delivery men, even pub visitors who sat in the chair met sudden and violent deaths, accidents, crashes, falls. Over time, the pub landlord realized the curse was no joke. Too many had died. The chair was eventually donated to a museum, where it now hangs on the wall, out of reach, so no one can ever sit in it again. To this day, it is said, anyone who sits in the chair of death signs their own fate. They say the curse is still waiting, that if you sit in the chair, you won't live long enough to regret it. And maybe, just maybe, you're already sitting somewhere you shouldn't. It's one of the most dazzling jewels on earth, a diamond worth millions. But from kings to commoners, everyone who wore it paid the ultimate price. Beheadings, suicides, ruin. They call it the most cursed jewel in the world. This is the deadly legend of the Hope Diamond. The Hope Diamond is one of the most famous gemstones in the world, a dazzling blue diamond weighing over 45 carats. But behind its beauty lies a trail of tragedy. Legend says it was stolen centuries ago from the eye of a statue of a Hindu goddess. For this desecration, the stone was cursed. Its first known owners in France were struck with ruin. King Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette both wore the diamond, before being executed during the French Revolution. Later, the diamond passed through wealthy families, each suffering madness, financial ruin, or violent death. One owner's son died in a car crash. Another took his own life. A jeweler who handled the diamond was murdered. Today, the Hope Diamond rests in the Smithsonian Museum, sealed behind glass. Visitors marvel at its beauty, but the legend endures, this diamond shines brightest in blood. They say the Hope Diamond's curse ended when it was given to a museum. But curses don't end, they only wait. And if you ever stand before its glass case, be careful what you wish for. Beauty has a price. He was frozen in the Alps for over 5,000 years. Perfectly preserved. But when the ice gave him back to the living, death followed. Accidents. Avalanches. Sudden illness. Was it all coincidence, or a curse buried in the ice? This is the chilling curse of Otzi the Iceman. In 1991, hikers in the Alps discovered a frozen, mummified body over 5,000 years old. He became known as Otzi the Iceman, one of the oldest and best preserved humans ever found. But soon after his discovery, strange tragedies struck those connected to him. Helmut Simon, the man who found Otzi, died in a freak hiking accident, falling to his death on a mountain. Dieter Warnecke, who led the rescue team for Simon's body, died of a sudden heart attack the very next day. Rainer Henn, the forensic pathologist who first examined Otzi, was killed in a car crash on his way to give a lecture about him. Kurt Fritz, who guided scientists to the mummy's location, died in an avalanche. Others, from researchers to curators, met with sudden and violent ends. Some dismiss it as coincidence. But locals whisper that disturbing Otzi awakened an ancient curse, a warning from the past not to disturb the dead. Otzi rests in a museum now, locked safely behind glass. But they say the dead never forget. Those who disturb them pay a price. So if you ever visit his frozen body, remember, he might already be watching you. It's just a painting. A sad child, forever crying. But in home after home, fire destroyed everything, except him. They call it, the crying boy. Some say his tears bring sorrow. Others say, they bring flames. In the 1980s, a series of strange house fires swept across England. Firefighters were shocked to discover one thing again and again. While entire homes were reduced to ashes, a single painting always survived untouched. It was the same image, a sad-eyed child with tears streaming down his face. The painting became infamous as the crying boy. Families who owned the painting claimed to hear strange noises at night, or feel an unsettling presence in their homes. But the real terror came from the fires. Dozens of reports claimed that after flames destroyed everything, the crying boy painting would be found intact, hanging on a scorched wall. Rumors spread that the boy in the painting was an orphan whose parents died in a fire, and that his spirit carried the flames with him. Others claimed the artist cursed the work, sealing misfortune into every copy. Even today, some refuse to hang the crying boy in their homes, terrified of the curse that follows. Thousands of copies still exist, scattered in homes and attics across the world. Maybe you've seen one. Maybe you've already hung it on your wall. And if you have, just pray you never smell smoke in the night. You've heard the stories, you've seen the curses, and yet, these objects still exist. Hidden away. Locked in glass. Or worse, resting in someone's home right now. But the most terrifying question is not where these objects came from, it's why they still remain among us. Waiting. Watching. Waiting for someone, like you, to touch them. Remember, some things are better left untouched. These are the cursed objects you should never touch.